Okay, welcome to the first episode of the Grave Chatter podcast. I'm Maggie,
And I'm Saloni.
and on this podcast, we're just going to share scary stories and talk about it and talk about all things spooky and creepy and whatever seems interesting to us. So, for the first episode, we're going to start with some Reddit stories, but hopefully, we can talk about some listener stories and talk about different spooky locations or folklore or whatever really piques our interest that week. So, okay. My story, my first story. I I think this one's really good. It's not, wait, is it my best one? No. It's not my best one.
It's not your best
All right.
one?
So this one, it'll be funny if we end up with any of the same ones also.
By the way, we haven't told each other what the stories are. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. One person's hearing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's no secret that when in need of money, someone is willing to go to extreme lengths. I'm not morally corrupt enough to murder, but I was still desperate to do things close to that. The divorce had been hard on me, and I wanted to get out of the house and just live on my own. For that, you need green. And my job wasn't paying me enough for that to just wander off and change my address quickly. In retrospective, maybe it wasn't so wise to look for jobs on the dark web. Those pay the most, though, and I didn't want to spend my time caring for some kid or old lady only to get paid $10 an hour. I started browsing whatever forum I could find and filtered my search so that I wouldn't have to kill or sleep with anyone. After a while, I came across offerings of package deliveries and such things. Deliver this to this address, show up to this house, etc., etc. It was all right by me, but I didn't have a car and I couldn't just walk for miles with suspicious boxes in hand. I finally came across this listing: museum worker needed, $100 per hour, temporary exhibition hosted somewhere in the suburbs. I checked the address on Google Maps and found some abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. I'd driven by it a few times back when the family car was also my car. I thought I could give it a try. Maybe it was some contemporary art stuff, some voodoo statues, or cursed items. I didn't believe in any of that, so it really wasn't a problem to me. It said I had to be there during the week from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sundays were off. The exhibition would run for around 3 months. I quickly added some numbers up: $100 an hour, 6 hours a day for 6 days a week for 3 months. That was certainly enough to cover a deposit and some secondhand car, I figured. That would be enough to help me get by. I ran through the possibilities of weird implications this ad might have. Maybe the museum was a front for human trafficking, drug dealing, or other illegal things. I don't even know why I said maybe. That was surely the case. I just had to be careful and not look into things too much. Or maybe the exhibition was hosted by some eccentric millionaire who wanted to display his dubious antiques. Either way, $100 is $100. I replied and got an instant response. Next thing I know, I was hired. With the little money I had, I bought a bike and some headphones to help pass the time. I arrived to the warehouse one Monday at 10 a.m., eager to get the job started and get my money. I wasn't expecting it to be so empty. The warehouse was huge on the inside, but the items displayed were very few. Mostly paintings covering the wall and some wooden statues, extremely tall. They almost reached the ceilings of the warehouse, and I couldn't really see their faces. All of them were sort of bent down, almost as if they were giants watching, so as not to step on us. Some of the notebooks were on display too. Most of them had drawings or scribbles. They weren't extraordinary. I really couldn't tell what I was looking at. I saw some unknown surgical equipment. It looked almost medieval. Next to it, a pair of ordinary scissors. I thought at first that it was ironic or just a piece of art, but the washed out lady that had led me in told me that those particular scissors were authentic and extremely important. I couldn't really tell what age the lady was. She was Asian, her skin clear and luminous. Based solely off that, I could have guessed she was in her teens. But her eyes moved around a lot, and I had a certain darkness that you only gain with age. Contrasting to her face, her hands were wrinkled and stained. Her hair fell in long threads on her back and was tangled towards the end. It looked unwashed. The most interesting part consisted in the last 3 items, displayed on the opposing wall to the entrance. If I sat at my desk near the entrance, the wall was almost invisible, hidden in the shadows. I didn't understand why the lights were so dim. The lady explains that it contributed to the atmosphere of the exhibition. One of the items was a low, round wooden table. The plaque on the front of it read, "The Hunger." The table was chewed and clawed at the edges. I think it used to be square, but the wood had been bitten off and chewed to the point where the corners were rounded. The teeth marks on the table were human. I figured it must have been some art piece. The other item was a pair of shoes. The plaque read, "The Shoes That Walked Home." They were old, made of leather, and worn out in impossible places, as if whoever had worn them had walked in circles continuously. The last item was an empty pedestal. Its plaque read, "Painter. Do not look when occupied." I stared at it a while. Such an interesting concept, I mumbled, noticing the lady's unblinking gaze on me. "Yes," she replied. "Don't look when it's occupied, though." How would I know? You'll see. It's a really easy job. You don't have a lot to do, and you earn so much money by basically doing nothing. You must understand we value your discretion and lack of curiosity the most. Yes, thanks, I responded quickly. Suddenly, I realized I didn't really want her to leave. That didn't stop her from traversing the warehouse and shutting the door behind her without any formalities. I was alone with the art. My job was to sit at the desk and greet visitors, sell them tickets. I noticed that the stacks of tickets was relatively small. They didn't really expect visitors. As I imagined, the warehouse was at the edge of town. Nothing really promoted this exhibition. No one was going to come. I decided I would put on some music and study the paintings. I got up and moved in front of the first, titled "My Mother." It showed a beautiful sea landscape and crystal waves melting into the bright shore. It was the type of scenery you'd find before a storm, so bright yet ominous, as if it knew what awaited. I couldn't find any trace of a woman, though. Right when I was about to move to the next painting, my neck tensed up. It's impossible to describe it. The sudden alarming urge to run, the panic that builds up in your chest. I was afraid to turn around, and yet I hated having my back to the room. I took a deep breath. I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I didn't turn around. I kept locking my eyes on my mother, afraid to act on impulse of running back to my desk. After torturous moments where my heart was threatening to jump out of my chest, I did a swift turn and then plunged back to my desk. "Whew," I said out loud. "This place is creepy as fuck." Why? Because I don't know, it's just fucking odd. I wouldn't pay money to come here. My throat was so dry it was itching. In the cold air, drops of sweat began gathering on my forehead. My eyes darted to various points of the room, to the paintings, to the statues, to its corners. Who had I spoken to? Who even was that? I stared at the entrance door. Who is that? I got no answer. Fuck off, just answer me. I heard you loud and clear. I know it's someone in here. You have to. I began hopelessly. You have to buy a ticket to get in. I heard a clatter in the back of the warehouse. The hunger, the shoes that walked home, the painter. Did the pedestal refer to the one who had made the paintings? I stood up and made my way slowly to the back. I kept looking at the floor until I saw the edges of the hunger. In the dim light, I could make out the shadow of the pedestal, and on it, I saw the shadow of a figure. It looked humanoid, like someone crouched over. I couldn't tell which direction it was facing. I was so cold, I stepped back, slowly, the way I came. At last, after what felt like billions of years, I sat down on my chair. I spent the remaining time of my shift there, too disturbed to listen to music. At some point, I heard the faint sound of wet footsteps coming from the back. You know when you're little and you begin recognizing the walk of your family members as they come up the stairs? How you can distinguish between your younger brother's upbeat walk and your father's slow, heavy steps? These footsteps sounded as if those two patterns were combined, almost like limping. They went on for a few seconds, then faded without reaching a certain destination. I swore to myself I would quit the next day. However, when I saw the bank transfer that night, I thought, It really wasn't so bad. It's not like I was being chased down or hurt in any way. I just had to sit down. I dreamt, however, of those footsteps reaching me at last. It's Tuesday, and as I'm writing this, I can hear them faintly in the back. I just hope that they appreciate my discretion. I wonder if the hunger and the shoes that walked home are connected in some way, but they don't pay me to be curious. I love the comments too because it's like they want you to be discreet, but you're posting about it publicly. Yeah.
I like how she's like, yeah, I wasn't gonna go back, but I saw that
Then I saw
check.
the money.
Then I saw the money, and I said, never mind. She said,
Everyone's got their
to it
price.
too. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually. Also, who thinks? I mean, I guess there could be, but teeth marks as an art piece?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, it kind of makes me think of like some sort of possession thing because, like, why else would anyone else go chewing on a table or a pedestal or whatever it is? Um, but it's really the humanoid thing, like sitting on it, that I'm like, I'd be so gone so fast.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
like, and when you hear the footsteps and you're
Hmm.
not supposed to turn around, no, no. Like, I'm not gonna hear little pitter patters. It wasn't even a pitter patter, it was a limp and like a scoot, and it was wet. No.
There's no way that you don't.
Run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't. That story.
I wouldn't even be worried about like leaving the art unattended. I'd be like, you know what? There's something way scarier back there that he's got it. He's got
Yeah,
this.
he's got it. And even
Mm-hmm.
if they wanted to, they would get the art. Also, why
They'd
is this
regret it. They'd regret it.
crazy? This art.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I accidentally picked a theme because both of mine are about odd jobs.
I think I also picked a theme because both of mine are about like taking someone, I guess.
Okay.
Perfect. My first story is about a daughter who is seeing a man in the closet. My daughter is my pride and joy. She's 8 years old, and from the very moment she was born, she's like an angel sent down to the earth. We have this tradition where every night, just before bedtime, I'll read her a few stories out of her favorite book. On this particular night, we were on chapter 12 of Charlotte's Web, and Charlotte had just wounded up all of the backyard animals. This is around the point in the story where she starts spinning messages into her web. You know, like some pig, terrific, all those messages just to keep the farmer from slandering Wilbur. My daughter had quite the little meltdown, pouting how afraid she was that Wilbur would go on and be sold and butchered. Come on, Pumpkin, I pled. Do you really think Charlotte let that happen? Look, she's leaving notes so the farmer knows Wilbur isn't just some pig. Leaving notes like the man in your closet? She asked. I didn't know what to say to this. A man in my closet? What? Yeah, silly, just like the man in my closet. Finishing up, I closed the book and began to tuck my daughter in, giving her a gentle little kiss on the forehead and brushing her golden blonde hair back behind her ear. All right, sweetie, you have sweet dreams for me, okay? Laying in bed that night, I couldn't shake the unease. Man in my closet, she asked. What kind of kid fear makes her think there's something in my closet? I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I checked. I actually, ever so cautiously, made my way over to my closet before sliding the panel open to reveal nothing but darkness before me. Yanking the pull string and floored the closet with light. Everything seemed to be in order: shoes, shirts, pants, and a crumpled little sticky note tucked under the edge of the drywall. Some pig scribbled in red ink. I did everything I could to rationalize it. Maybe daughter left it, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just some part of a poorly made grocery list. I don't know. No. No, this can't be rationalized. It was too perfectly coincidental. I grabbed a bat and made my rounds. Hello, I shout. Hey, if there's anyone in here, you better come out right now, because I'm calling the cops. I went to every room in my house, and I didn't find even a hint of a person. All the yelling had awakened my daughter, who was now standing at my side. What happened, Daddy? She grumbled, wiping sleep from her eyes. Nothing, honey. Let's get back to bed. Come on, it's late. Did you find the man, Daddy? I paused. What man? What man are you talking about, Roxy? Tell me now, I said sternly. The man from your closet, Daddy. I told you. Don't you remember? There's no one in the closet, Roxy. I checked already. I thought I heard something in the garage. So you didn't find the note? My blood ran cold. What do you know about the note, baby girl? I asked playfully to mask the fear. He told me he left you one. He said it was from the story. Sitting my daughter down on her bed, I pulled the crumpled sticky note from my pocket. Are you talking about this note, sweetheart? I asked her. Yes, it's just like the story. Daddy, look, some pig. She laughed and clapped, and it was just like she just saw a magic trick. Needless to say, we camped out in the car for the remainder of the night. The next morning, I sent Roxy off to school and began my extensive search of the house. I'm talking looking for hollows in the drywall, shining lights in the attic. Hell, I'm checking even under the bathroom sink, for Christ's sake. Finding nothing and feeling defeated, I plopped down on the couch for some television when the thought hit me. Roxy said he wanted to leave one for me. Could this mean that he already left some for Roxy? I rushed to her room and began to rummage, emptying the toy box, searching the desk and dresser. Not a note to be found. However, glancing at her bookshelf, I noticed something I hadn't before. A thin, aged-looking notebook with cracks across its spine and yellow pages. It wasn't the note that caught my attention, though. It was the flap of a bright yellow sticky note that stuck out ever so slightly from between the pages. Opening it up is what horrified me. Each page was completely covered in sticky notes, from top to bottom and left to right, like a scrapbook of notes that, according to my daughter, came from a man in the closet. None of them were particularly malicious. In fact, it was just they were written by a dog that just learned how to communicate. Hello, one read. Rossi. Another read. Wagty. Window. Daddy. Just single word phrases that looked to be read by someone who was mentally challenged. Who do I even turn to for this? What would the police say if I brought them this and told my daughter and I had been sleeping in my car because of it? They'd take Roxy away and declare me as an unfit parent. That's what they do. So I just waited. I waited until Roxy got home and I confronted her about this. Roxy, sweetie, I found this in your room today. Is there anything you want to tell me about it? Those are the notes, Dad. I told you about them many times. She got annoyed after a long day of second grade, I guess. Yes, I know that, dear. But where did they come from? How did the man give them to you? He always leaves them for me. After stories, Daddy. It's like his little thing. Leaves them where? She stared at me blankly. Do I have to tell? Where have I said he lives this whole time? She snarked. He rolled her eyes. In your closet. Roxanne Edwards. Is this absolutely any way to talk to your father? I snapped. Go to your room right now and fix this attitude you picked up today. Well, sorry. It's not my fault you won't listen to me. Keep it up, young lady, and so help me, I will see to it that you will stay in your room all weekend. She closed her door without any word. I hate to be so hard on her, and it's not even her fault, really. This whole situation has had me on edge for the last couple of days. About an hour passed, and by the time I decided that I should probably start thinking about dinner, I figured I'd get pizza as a truce for Roxy. So I called it in and started looking for a movie we can watch together. Midway through browsing, I heard a giggle come from Roxy's room. That's odd, I thought. What could possibly be so funny? Sneaking up as to not disturb whatever moment she was having. The first thing I noticed was the book in her hand. That's my girls, I whispered under my breath. I didn't raise an iPad kid. However, pride quickly dissipated. when I realized that her eyes were glued.
Dissipated.
Cut that out. However, pride quickly
Dissipated.
dissipate. However, pride quickly dissipated when I realized that her eyes were glued to the floor by her bedroom instead of copying of James in the Giant Peach. Hey kiddo, I chirped. Her eyes shot up from the floor to meet mine. Oh, hi Dad. What are you up to? I asked. Oh, she said. Just reading. Just reading, huh? I thought I just heard you laugh. Oh yeah, there was a silly part in the book, she said. Well, are you gonna tell me what it is? I chuckled. I'll tell you later. I'm kinda getting sleepy. I kinda just wanna go to bed. Go to bed? It's only 7 o'clock. I just ordered pizza. Come on, Pumpkin. I thought we would watch a movie. She answered with a long, drawn-out yawn. Okay, fine. Well, at least let me read you more of that Charlotte Web, I begged gently. I don't think I want story time today, she said, in stern. No story? But I always read you a story. Okay, fine. If you're that tired, I guess I'll let you have the night off. Sweet dreams, Pumpkin. That finally drawn a smile on her face. You too, Dad, she said warmly before getting up to give me a big hug. That night, I ate pizza alone in the living room, which I watched Cops Reloaded. I finally called it a night around 11 when my eyes began to flutter and sound began to morph into dreams. Crashing out into my bed, I was just about to fall asleep when the faint sounds of scratching made its way on my subconscious. The scribbling, carving, sounds of pen to paper. I shot up, rushed to the closet, swinging the door open and yanking the pull string so hard I thought it would break. Lying on the floor, in plain sight, there were 3 sticky notes, each one containing a single word so violently it left a little tear on the paper. Do not yell. That was enough for me. All asleep, exited my body at once. As I raced into my daughter's room, car keys in hand, my heart sank when I found the empty room and a window half open. I screamed my daughter's name and received no response. Weeks went by, and no trace of Roxy has been found. I'm a broken man. How could I possibly let this happen? My pride and joy, the one thing I swore to protect no matter what, taken right under from me. The only thing that stopped me is a few nights ago, I heard scribbling from my closet, less violent this time, and more thoughtful strokes. Hurrying over to the closet and repeatedly the routine once more. I greeted with, but only with one note this time. One simple read in my daughter's exact handwriting. I miss you, Daddy.
Okay, that one's messed up.
Crazy.
Okay.
Where'd she go?
I'm surprised. He was like, we went looking for her for 2 weeks. I was like, you've got something living in your house. It's time to go hunting.
Right.
No parent's gonna have their kid. He would have burned that house down trying to find whatever was hiding in there and took his kid.
Especially after the first note. Like, dude.
Yeah, why would you? I mean, I've actually read so many stories or just like listened to so many stories where there is something going on in the house that they think is more supernatural and less like person and less physical. And everyone just like keeps coming back. And I'm like, if I thought someone was living in my house, I'd never be back. So,
No, because if you found a note, because that's more like physical, I would say, then why would you go back? I'm sorry. What?
In your closet? How are you even sleeping?
Your closet, not even your daughter's closet. I'm like, dude, there's no way. I would move out that instant. There's no way.
But I feel like there's a lot of stories where it's like something interacting with kids or like kids see something, kids saying like, oh, my friend gave me that, and like creeping out the parents. And I think it's so funny, but it's kind of like what I told you about with Lila the other night when she was like growling at the corner of the room. And I was like, you better stop right now because I can't with that. So, but I always go check.
Oh my god, yes. I was dog sitting my friends' dogs over the summer, and there was a night, every single night, at 8 or 9 p.m. sharp. It was literally at that time She had two dogs and two cats. One of the
Hmm.
cats hated me, and she would not like literally never go near me. And at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock sharp, she would sit beside me, and the dogs would sit beside me. And there was like a laundry room door, I guess. They would
Hmm.
position themselves and start barking for like 10 minutes, and then they would stop and like disperse, like it was like a meeting or something. I'm like,
Does somebody get home at 8 p.m. normally that they're like, why isn't my person walking through the door like they're supposed to at 8 p.m.?
that's what I thought, but I'm like, I asked my friend, and no one gets home at 8. So I'm like,
Because some people will say that like dogs can tell time.
mm-hmm.
And I will say, if I ever leave Lila at home and go to work and I leave like the Furbo camera on her, she does start kind of like getting up and moving around whenever it's like 5:30 because she's like, okay, mom should be getting home soon. So maybe they can. We
Maybe
know they
they
can see things that we can't.
that's why I don't want to get a dog. So I'm like, what if randomly they just start barking? I could not handle that.
But wouldn't you rather, like, if there was something, I feel like I'd rather her tell me. Like, I don't want to be oblivious to it. I don't want it just hanging out here with me.
I want to be oblivious because like as long if it doesn't like tell me if my lights don't come on, imagine they come on. If my lights don't come on or anything, I just leave me alone. Don't tell me,
Yeah.
don't no.
Yeah, but mine do that. Like, my TV turns on or my lights in the bathroom flicker, and I'm just the queen of like making up excuses for what's going on.
Do
So
you believe in it?
maybe
On a
some of
scale of
it.
1 to 10. Like what do you believe that there's something else there? Like there's a possibility
Um,
as a light or as the TV turns on.
right. I think there's a possibility. I think it kind of depends on what it is because there's a lot of like different uh folklore or stories or whatever it is. And I think some of it I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then some of it I'm like, we could do without that one.
Yes. But yeah,
Okay.
I believe in it 100%.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
I'm
about
more likely I'm more likely to question it. I feel like I read a lot of these stories and I'm like,
it.
okay, but like, was this a dream? Like, did you just, because sometimes I think I have dreams where years later I'll remember it and I'll be like, shoot, is that a memory or is that a dream?
Huh. That happened to me once and I'm like,
It's a
is
memory.
this like is this Roxy? Like what's going on? I don't understand.
Mm, yeah, and that one didn't have a happy ending. They did not
It
find
really didn't. I
Roxy,
mean, I
which
guess
is
she's
sad.
watching over him,
Is she dead? I thought
but
she was just in the closet.
I'm like, how did the window open? And like, I'm assuming she left.
I'm assuming.
I'm assuming.
Okay, but the thing is, imagine it was like a kidnapping hostage situation and this thing's like leaving notes because it's trying to like lure him to give ransom. And meanwhile, he's like, oh, darn, my kid, she's gone. She's gone
She's
forever.
right. And they have like a tunnel in the house every time. They just like leave the notes in there.
I mean, there are some, yeah, that's probably one of my bigger fears is that someone like is living in the attic or something. Have you seen those stories?
I've seen like actual people living up there, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen like I'm like, dude, first of all, how do you get up there? Because my attic, you like
Mm.
have to lower, like it's a whole situation. So I'm like, how do they end
Yeah.
up there?
Well, and at my old house, there was an access to the attic in the closet. So you're like telling the story, and I'm like, is there an attic access that he should be checking? Or is there, you know? Which I
Right.
guess he said he went looking and like everything looked normal, but I'd be like pulling everything out of there. Like, where is
Mhm.
there a hidden door? We need some more information here, I think.
Yeah. Crazy.
All right.
Here he is.
I'm ready to be scared.
You're
Wow
also,
me.
I will wow you. Um, this is one of the stories that I already read. So it'll be fun. It'll be a
That's
spooky.
good. So you did your homework
I did
as
my
instructed.
okay. This is the EMT one.
Okay.
We love the EMT one. Okay. Working an EMT job is as easy as you would expect. Late nights, stressful days, and never ending shifts. All the works. I was a paramedic. I was entering at 17, and by 21, I was on the payroll. Now, if you're reading this, then by chance, as you probably heard countless paramedic stories before, but I can assure you, this one will take the cake. It started like any other night. A call comes in, my partner and I are dispatched, and we rush to the scene, sirens blazing. We paramedics aren't typically informed of the exact nature of the emergency when calls come in. We're taught to get to the scene as quickly as possible and assess the situation once we arrive. So my partner and I were completely clueless as to what we were walking into. This call led us away from the city's heart and towards its outskirts. We were eventually directed down a dirt road that was stretched for about a mile before we reached the homeowner's driveway. It was as narrow and restrictive that we actually had to pull over to the side of the road in front of the driveway and proceed on foot. So that's what we did, medical bags in hand. As we made our way up to the driveway, we were presented with trash and clothing thrown widely about the front yawn and porch, and violent screams came from inside the house. My partner and I looked at each other nervously before we took a deep breath and knocked on the door. It swung open immediately, and a tall, exhausted-looking man in an unbuttoned shirt with a stained white tank top underneath stood before us. He was pale-faced and looked as if he was crying. In his right hand he gripped a Bible so hard that his knuckles glowed white. More violently screams came from behind him as he practically dragged us into the house. Upon entering, the blood was the first thing we noticed. It was all over the floor, and a trail of it led us down the hall in the direction of this man was ushering us. It stopped at a locked door. Beyond us, we heard more screaming, animalistic grunts and growls that made my blood run cold. I knocked on the door, and the screaming stopped on a dime. In the midst of it, all the chaos, I neglected to ask the man his name or his relation to the person behind the door. And while I awaited an answer from whoever was in the room, my partner got his information. It turned out that he was the girl's father, and he apparently gone completely ballistic suddenly out of nowhere, trashing the house and throwing all her clothes out in the yard, including the ones that she was wearing. Her father attempted to intervene, to which she responded by bashing her head into the wall and locking herself in the room with a kitchen knife, all while screaming that demonic scream. We were receiving this information, attempting to get inside. A scream came again from the room, in the most inhumane voice I ever heard. A screeching, "Leave me alone," echoed out from beyond the door. This pushed the father over the edge in the midst of all his breakdowns, and he began to throw himself full force against the bedroom door, kicking as hard as he can. He managed to break down the door before we can restrain him, and what I saw in the bedroom has haunted me forever. This girl laid on her bed completely nude and expressionless, and stared through my soul as she plunged the kitchen knife into her torso over and over again. Blood soaked the bed and poured out from dozens of wounds on her body, yet she continued screeching and thrashing like an animal. Without thinking, I shoved past her father and restrained the knife that she was holding. The screams grew even more defeatingly as she fought with more life than she should have had on her body to get me off of her. It took all of my strength to pry fingers from the knife handle, and I tossed it to the far corner of the room as soon as I did. With her father wailing and the girl herself gnashing her teeth and snarling, my partner and I restrained her and fought her to get to the ambulance. She stayed on 2 feet and restrained us with the force of a grown man, a stunning contrast to the strength of other teenage girls. Reaching the back doors of the vehicle, I had to climb up into the patient's compartment to retrieve the stretcher, and we strapped her down and pushed her inside. As we did, both of her arms shot back right to the entrance, and she dug her fingers in so hard that the middle and index finger of her left hand snapped off and oozed blood, prompting more screeching. Once we finally got her into the ambulance, her family hopped into the back with us, and we made our way to the hospital. Looking her over, her wounds were absolutely detrimental. Her insides looked as though it was turned into mush, and the fact that she was alive was an absolute miracle. The screeching stopped, though, and her vitals began to fall dramatically. Her previously wired and bloodshot eye began to flutter and shut, and by the time we reached the hospital, she has flatlined and was announced dead on the arrival. The father was an absolute mess, and I don't blame him, though, because partly was of the scope of everything, but also I remember her last words, the words she spoke, looking right into her father's eyes as the life left her. How did we get here?
Okay. I will say, the how did we get here part does kind of sound like she was possessed, and upon dying, it was like, oh, peace out. I'm done here. I gotta go. And then she had like a sudden moment of clarity of like, what the heck just happened? But
Right,
it begs a lot of additional questions of how long had this been going on for?
right.
Was this all of a sudden? And the father was just like freaking confused. But he also was holding a Bible. So potentially something had been building up that he was like trying
Yes.
to resolve this on his own. And then it was like, did you reach out to the church? And they were like, not our problem. Also curious how frequently people go to the church for exorcisms and like, is there a wait list or,
So, wait, is this the healthcare
you know?
system?
Yeah. I
But
mean, maybe that's something the hospital should keep on staff. Is a
yeah, so like there's been imagine a nurse gets a call. Yeah, so there's been a girl who has been possessed.
Mhm.
Please fix
Yeah.
her.
Just
Also,
send her to the
how
ER. That's a code blue, right?
right. Um but how did she like even though considering if something like did enter her body, she's still human though. So
Hmm.
how did she survive all of like the stabbing that she did to herself? Like how did
Adrenaline.
she just now?
I feel like they would say adrenaline, unless being possessed by something, because apparently she had super strength too. So
Yeah,
maybe it was aiding in keeping her alive during all that blood loss. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't know the strength of adrenaline, to be honest, but perhaps that falls within that realm, maybe?
I suppose. No, because imagine seeing your daughter just, I don't know if this was all of a sudden, just all of a sudden, like bashing her
Mm,
head and just stabbing herself. And
yeah.
also seeing the last words and like her being like flipped,
Mm-hmm.
that would
Be very
be
traumatizing.
visceral.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine the spirit or whatever took her body.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they like just hopped on to the next person? Or imagine they hopped
Mm,
onto the father or someone. That would be crazy.
perhaps whatever was possessing her may be familiar enough with her father that it could just hop over, but I don't know how that works, and I don't know if it's quite so simple.
Kind of.
But it also makes me think like of the insane things that EMTs probably see all the time. Demonic
I-
and otherwise, just like overall traumatizing.
Right. And like screaming, I feel like that's normal. But imagine you're, la la lying, walking
Mm-hmm.
into your job. Oh, a great new day. Well, probably not great, but like a new
Yeah.
day.
It's another
And
day.
it's another day. And walking in and seeing a possessed girl stabbing herself. I'm like, brava.
That's another line of work I don't think I could ever do because,
Oh, I would love to get all the information. I don't know. Love to do
oh
it.
my God.
Someone, dude, I don't even know. I'm sure. Do you think this is a real story? Like, how much, again, do you
So,
believe that possessions can happen?
mm, I don't know because I hear those stories and I feel like my mind kind of goes towards like drugs, or even if it's just some sort of chemical imbalance that they're trying to fix with some sort of medicine could create a different imbalance. And so I guess like when it comes to any sort of crazy possession sort of thing, I do think my mind immediately goes towards some sort of like usage of some sort.
That is so interesting.
Because you
I
believe in
don't
it? Do you?
I Yes, I immediately when someone's like, "Oh yeah, I've been possessed," immediately believe it. I don't there's not a thought in my mind. I'm like, "Oh yeah,
You're like, yeah,
it's a spirit. It
that
has
checks
to
out.
that checks out. It has to be."
I will say there's other things that like you can give me zero backup for or like zero evidence for, and I'm just like, nope, fully on board with that one. That one is, yeah, that exists. Absolutely.
Cuz I'm like, you see, I believe this, like, I don't know. I believe that they exist, but I also don't believe in a sense like, what do you mean there's a different like world? Like, what do you mean like we can't, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Some people know apparently. Like Roxy. She came back.
Now Roxy knows. Yeah.
She,
Well, if she can send you a note and let you know, that would probably
no,
be
please
helpful.
stay away from me.
She'll leave you a post-it.
Oh my god. The worst thing, I have no posted, so if I see one, I am running.
You'll be like, where'd that come from? Okay.
Like, no.
Ready for the final story?
So excited.
Okay. I love this one, honestly. Okay.
I'm so excited now.
Let me zoom just a little bit because I have terrible eyesight. It's literally so bad. Okay.
Waiting for
They say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't love what I do. Not exactly. But I was born for it, and I'm very, very good at it. It's not a 9 to 5. There's no clocking in, no coffee breaks, no PTO. You don't apply for this kind of job, it finds you. And the first thing they tell you, the very first thing is never tell anyone what you do. Not your spouse, not your family, not your priest, not even yourself if you can help it. But lately, it's been getting harder to ignore. The weight of it, the screams of it. So here I am telling you. I guess the easiest way to explain this is I clean things up after things, unnatural things. You know, when a family just disappears from their home, car still in the driveway, dinner half eaten, no signs of struggle, just gone. That's when I get a call. Or when some hikers go off trail and are found days later, faces stretched in horror, skin blistered like they aged 100 years overnight. That's me too. But I'm not law enforcement, not military, not some paranormal investigator with a podcast and night vision camera. I don't ask questions. I don't take notes. I remove blood, evidence, sometimes entire houses, and I do it well. My tools are custom. They don't have names, just serial codes. I've got solvents that melt bone, vacuums that erase the residue of fear, gloves that never stain. And then there's the black book. It's always waiting on my kitchen table in the morning. No knock, no call, just there. Heavy, smells like dirt and ozone. Inside is always the same: a name, a location, and a set of rules. Follow the rules. That's what keeps you alive. Let me give you an example. A few months ago, I was sent to a house in Oregon, a cabin deep in the woods, no roads on Google Maps. The Black Book said, Rule number 1, do not look in the mirrors. Rule number 2, remove the nursery wallpaper before dusk. Rule number 3, if you hear crying from under the floorboards, leave immediately. I followed them, mostly. I slipped. I glanced at a mirror by the front door just for a second. I saw something that wasn't me. It had my face, but the smile wasn't mine. The teeth weren't human. I covered it with a blanket and kept working. Didn't sleep for 3 days after that, but I got the job done. Place was gone by morning, just dirt and fog where the cabin used to be. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes they send me to places where the walls breathe, where clocks run backwards, where the wind whispers in dead languages. Last year, there was a site, I can't say where, that required me to burn down a hotel that didn't technically exist. The Black Book said, each room you enter will add another memory you never had. Burn it before you forget who you are. Took me 5 hours. By the time I lit the final match, I was almost convinced I had a wife named Clara and a baby girl named June. I don't. I double-checked, I think. The worst job I ever had? A basement in Kansas. Concrete walls, chains, blood thick as syrup on the floor. Nothing in the Black Book but one sentence. It is still hungry. Do not feed it anything you love. I almost failed that one. I dropped my wallet without noticing. Had a photo of my sister in it. I left the house shaking. When I checked my wallet in the car, the photo was gone. In its place was a scrap of flesh, still beating. Some days I wonder who they are, the ones who leave the book, the ones who know where the horrors are, the ones who created the rules. Are they protecting us, or just covering their tracks? Am I the good guy in all this, or just another cog in the much darker machine? I try not to ask. The Black Book doesn't like it when you ask. I tried once. I left a note inside. Who are you? Next morning, I woke up with my own handwriting carved into my arm. Cleaner. Clean thyself. I bled for hours. So why am I telling you this now? Because this morning, for the first time in over a decade, the Black Book didn't show up. Instead, there was an envelope. My name written in red, no return address. Inside, a photo of me, sleeping. And on the back, just one rule. Do not run. We already know where you'll go. I have a very special job, but I think I just became the next mess to clean up. And I don't think anyone's coming to save me. Isn't that one good?
That one's good. No, because what do you mean?
I
What do
know.
you mean they'll know where you run? Huh?
I know. The comments are always so funny. Wait, but what happened to your sister?
Also, how does one get this job?
The book finds you. It just tells you what to do. You just do it.
I
This
would
one's
not.
funny. There are a lot of dead-end jobs out there, but that's extraordinary. Yeah, because he's gonna die. He's next. It's a dead-end job. I don't even know if they meant that to be punny, but it was.
We love that though.
I know. Any other thoughts about the final story? I feel like that one's really good.
That one's good. I feel like that one's the best one yet. Because like the other ones, yes. Like it's not explainable, but like it's very like okay, she got possessed, okay, like she got taken, like whatever. Like
Just another day.
just another day. But what do you mean? What do you mean?
And the walls that breathe don't look okay. Whenever I read it the first time and it said like he looked in the mirror and he saw like his face, I feel like that's probably one of the scariest things that I think they have in horror movies and stuff is like whenever you see someone's face and they have the scary smile that's like overstretched and
God.
everything.
Have you seen Smile?
No, of course not. I'm not watching that.
You haven't seen Smile?
No.
When you said
And I
that,
never will.
It reminded me of Smiles. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you saw your face and it just smiled?
Yeah.
Oh my god. If
Oh
you
wait, I know exactly. Isn't that the girl? Like I think I've seen the preview for that one where she's looking in the mirror.
I don't know if she's looking in the I don't remember,
But she's
I
young.
remember she's like younger, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like
Mm-hmm.
also, is it because she looked in the mirror that she kind of got possessed? Not possessed, but like became the next victim?
No, I think it's because she was asking questions. Or he. I read it and I assumed it was a he that had this job.
Probably is a he. Because,
I think so.
I mean, I guess the job finds you. You can't really run. Because if you run,
Mm-hmm.
you would die.
You already know. You already know too much, so they would come after you anyway. Yeah.
Who is they? Like, you can't even run because, like, I'm assuming this is a spirit and they can just go through walls.
Well, I was gonna say, he said it smells like ozone, so I think that means aliens.
I mean, I guess you can run from aliens.
Maybe.
If they're, like, humane. I mean, I know they wouldn't be humane, but, like,
No.
I know they wouldn't.
No,
But,
but
like,
they also said, don't bother running. We know where you'll go.
can you read my mind? What you mean?
Probably because they probably put a tracker in his tooth or something, so.
Yeah, I would take all my teeth out.
You take them all out. Well,
I
after
would,
the scary smile in the mirror, you just start ripping them out.
yes. Be like,
Mm-mm.
no.
I don't think there's any running. Although I read stuff like this, and it's like he said he's not the government, but I'm like, but are you? You just don't know you are, and like we don't know
No.
what they're up to.
Dude, I saw there's a vent above me, and I looked up, and I thought I saw a face.
Oh my god.
Oh,
No, but like
no.
we were reading the stories yesterday,
Mhm.
and I was like getting ready for bed in the bathroom, which my bathroom goes into the closet then, and I just like stare at the dark like sliver of the opening, and I'm just like, there's gonna be a face. Like I check it all the time. I'm like, one of these times it's gonna be there.
Dude. Did I say dude?
Yeah.
There, after, like, we were done or whatever, I was, like, getting ready for bed, and there's my closet. Out of
Hmm.
all things, my closet, which is the worst place.
Hmm.
And I don't remember. I pretty sure I left it open, but it just
Okay,
closed.
you're gonna start like gaslighting yourself and being
So
like, I
like,
closed that, right? Or what?
I
Did I
closed it.
open that?
I opened it. I kept it open, but no.
I do that sometimes with like small things where I'll like set something on the counter and then walk by it again and be like, I thought I set that down differently. But I totally like have no clue and I would not remember something like that. And I'm just like working myself up over it, I guess. Trying to, not trying to convince myself, but being like, wait, did that move? I don't know. Now that I've got the TV that turns on its own and the lights that flicker.
Dude, I randomly think about that. I'm like, is she alive?
Mm, for now.
Are you? Like, what if you're like
Oh,
possessed?
that
Maybe
we
I
don't
shouldn't say
know.
that.
Yeah, no, that we don't know.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. Crazy.
All right, well, I think this concludes our first episode of Grave Chatter. So hopefully it was enjoyable and hopefully somebody listens other than my mom, who I don't know if she's into spooky stuff. Maybe
Your
she is.
dad
Maybe she'll
listen.
surprise me. Probably he will listen to critique and send me feedback notes afterwards.
Hopefully, people do see this, and if you do, congrats, we're here.
Woo!
Yeah.